Tonight on CTV3 News, Joseph Ryan Budna remains behind bars in Guatemala, while an investigation to his alleged abduction takes place here in Belize. The issue brings along from lawsuits to heated discussions inside Parliament. Ellis Megan faces serious charges in deadly Placencia shooting after deportation. And Belize poised to make history with first ever confrontation at the Sarstool between the GAF and the BDF. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Friday, September 12th, 2025.
Celebrate Belize's 44th independence anniversary with us. Join us this September as Belize shines brighter than ever. Be part of the excitement and showcase your business to thousands of viewers during our live coverage of these spectacular events. September 19th, Children's Rally. September 13th, Carousel Carnival. September 20th, Flag Raising Ceremony. And September 21st, the Citizens Parade.
Everybody jump and wave. Show me 1,000 and just show me 1,000 and
Maximize your visibility. All events will be broadcast live on Channel 53 of Centaur Cable Network, available on the Express Plus app and streamed across our popular social media platforms, including CTV3 News, Fiesta FM Radio, and Despierta Belize. Get more value for your advertising dollar, reach a wider audience, and be part of Belize's most celebrated month. Contact us today at 670-9177 for more information. Get ready, Belize! September is here and we're turning up the celebration. Belize is turning 44 and we're bringing the party straight to you with a lineup of unforgettable events that you simply can't miss. September 13th, Carousel Carnival. September 19th, Children's Rally. September 20th, Flag Raising Ceremony. And September 21st, the Citizens Parade. We're bringing it all to you live. No matter where you are, catch every moment on Channel 53 of Centaur Cable Network, the Express Plus app, and across all our social media pages, CTV3 News, Fiesta FM Radio, and Despierta Belize. No need to go anywhere. Just sit back, relax, and celebrate Belize's 44th birthday with us.
Good evening. With your newscast, also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7, I am Jaden Gamis. A complete police report into the abduction of Joseph Bunda is expected by the end of September. This follows Prime Minister John Briceño's request last week that the document be handed to him by Friday. Earlier this week, the Prime Minister disclosed that the document he received was incomplete. He has since directed that investigation be redone under the leadership of Assistant Superintendent Suzette Anderson. Speaking on the matter today, Prime Minister Briceño explained that the report was incomplete since investigators did not have enough time to meet his initial deadline. He emphasized that while an independent investigation has not yet been called, it remains a possibility.
Well, nobody has said no to an independent investigation. What I have said is that we will ask the police first to come with a report. And based on that report, then we decide what is next forward. If there's a need for an independent investigation, then we will do so. But allow us to be able to get that report so that we can then decide what we were supposed to go.
You called the report, the first one you got, unsatisfactory and incomplete. Can you say why?
It was unsatisfactory and incomplete because they did not have enough time to finish it. I think they did not expect me to then to just demand that report. Remember when I said it, I gave them about 24 hours to finish that report. And so they did not have enough time. And so what was sent to me was unsatisfactory. And so I said, well, we need to finish the report.
When asked about ASP Anderson's appointment, the Prime Minister confirmed that she is a constituent of his division, but said this does not present a conflict of interest, noting that he has had no direct contact with her.
Yes, she is a voter in Orange Walk Central, but I have had no discussion with her. Absolutely none. Even when the appointment was made to have the acting commissioner, I have not spoken to him, not by phone, not in person. I am allowing these professionals to do their job. I have every confidence in Bar Jones and Ms. Anderson to be able to do what is right.
The release of the much-discussed surveillance footage of Bunda's adoption, Prime Minister Briceño gave his assurance that it will be made public once the police investigation is completed.
I feel that we need to give the police, who are the ones that do investigations in Belize, to do the first part. And then when we do decide to do an independent investigator, who is going to be that independent person in Belize? But we are going to bring in a foreigner. If we bring a foreigner, I'll give X. You put somebody in Belize, oh, that one, they know this one, we know this one, you know. So let's try to work the process. That's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to hide anything. I am going to repeat it one more time. This was not sanctioned by the state. I can tell you, I had no idea of this going on. And if I should have known, I would have immediately said that cannot happen in our government. So please, that should end now. But I'm saying once we finish with the investigation, we could release everything. We don't have nothing to hide. But allow the investigation to finish. When the investigation is over and you guys want the footage, be happy to give it to you. But let the investigation finish first.
As for the 45-day suspension handed down to Commissioner of Police Dr. Richard Rosado, the Prime Minister says Compol Rosado himself decided to step back while the investigation is ongoing to preserve the integrity of the process.
I don't think he was publicly shamed. I think what was happening is that he wanted to remove himself, and so from this whole thing, so that you don't accuse that he's tampering with this, with the investigation. It's more like you guys. I mean, it's more like damn if you do, damn if you don't. He decided to do the honorable thing. I figure, it's best that he have administrative leave so that we can proceed with this investigation. It has nothing to shame Commissioner Rosado.
Have you received?
The Prime Minister also confirmed that the interdiction of Officer Barrington Flowers did not come as part of the initial police report or sanctioned by his office and was instead a decision from within the department. 33-year-old Ellis Gilbert Megan, who was deported from the U.S. on Tuesday after spending 15 months behind bars, appeared in the Belize City Magistrates Court yesterday to face multiple serious criminal charges related to a shooting incident in Placencia that resulted in 1 death and 1 injury. Megan was formally charged with 4 offenses: murder, attempted murder, use of deadly means of harm, and dangerous harm. The charges relate to the shooting that occurred in April 2024, which claimed the life of Roy Lee Burgess and left American national Mia James injured but alive. He arrived at court under tight police security, appearing without legal representation. Given the gravity of the allegations, the court did not accept a plea and denied bail. Megan was remanded to Belize Central Prison until November 6, 2025. Authorities indicated that key witness Mia James, who was present during the incident, is expected to return to Belize to testify in the case. James was flown into Belize for her safety but has since been reallocated abroad. However, officials confirmed she will return when called upon. The police operation to bring Megan to court involved a special security detail, which included a brief disruption of traffic on Coney Drive. Notably, no identification parade has yet been conducted in the case. Although sources report that Mia James was initially flown into Belize to participate but was subsequently taken abroad for her safety. Police confirmed that Megan has refused to take part in the identification procedure. Ellis Megan has long been a figure of controversy within Belize City's criminal landscape. He is the brother of Tyrone Megan, who was killed earlier this year in the Lakeview area. Despite frequent mentions in police investigations, Megan has largely avoided prosecution until now. Two police sergeants are contesting serious false accusations that have damaged their reputations, asserting that the defamatory claims have severely impacted their careers as law enforcement professionals. The controversy originated after statements made by UDP leader Moses Shine Barrow were circulated online on September 5th. In these statements, Barrow alleged that both officers were involved in the purported abduction of Joseph Ryan Bunda on August 22nd and accused them of interfering with a police officer during the incident. The officers involved, however, strongly deny any involvement, emphasizing that they have never faced disciplinary measures or criminal charges during their service. Represented by the law firms Flores Piper LLP, the officers have initiated legal proceedings against both Barrow and Channel 7 News. Their legal team is demanding a formal retraction and apology published twice in the same outlets that originally spread the allegations. They also request a written assurance that these defamatory statements will not be repeated. Furthermore, they are seeking damages of $10,000 each from Barrow, Channel 7 News, and its news director, Jules Vasquez. The legal representatives highlighted that although the claims are introduced with the word allegedly, this does not lessen the serious harm caused by the accusations. They stress that such allegations pose a significant threat to the officers' professional reputations, which they have diligently built over the years. Flores Piper LLP warned that if their clients' demands are not met by the upcoming deadline of September 12th, they will pursue legal action seeking up to $100,000 in damages for the reputational harm inflicted. The statement also criticized the media outlets for not obtaining comments from the accused officers prior to publishing the allegations, raising concerns about journalistic ethics and responsibility. Meanwhile, an official investigation into the incident is ongoing. One officer, Barrington Flowers, has already been placed on interdiction, although he maintains his innocence regarding the allegations. Coming up next, tensions reach a new level at the Sarstoon between GAF and the BDF. Stay tuned.
Celebrate Belize's 44th independence anniversary with us. Join us this September as Belize shines brighter than ever. Be part of the excitement and showcase your business to thousands of viewers during our live coverage of these spectacular events. September 19th, Children's Rally. September 13th, Carousel Carnival. September 20, Flag Raising Ceremony. And September 21st, the Citizens Parade.
Everybody jump and wave. Show me 1,000 and just show me 1,000 and
Maximize your visibility. All events will be broadcast live on Channel 53 of Centaur Cable Network, available on the Express Plus app and streamed across our popular social media platforms, including CTV3 News, Fiesta FM Radio, and Despierta Belize. Get more value for your advertising dollar, reach a wider audience, and be part of Belize's most celebrated month. Contact us today at 670-9177 for more information. Get ready, Belize! September is here and we're turning up the celebration. Belize is turning 44 and we're bringing the party straight to you with a lineup of unforgettable events that you simply can't miss. September 13th, Carousel Carnival. September 19th, Children's Rally September 20, Flag Raising Ceremony on September 21st, the Citizens Parade. We're bringing it all to you live. No matter where you are, catch every moment on Channel 53 of Central Cable Network, the Express Plus app, and across all our social media pages, CTV3 News, Fiesta FM Radio, and Despierta Belize. No need to go anywhere. Just sit back, relax, and celebrate Belize's 44th birthday with us.
Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño today addressed the recent confrontation at the Sarstone River on September 10th when Guatemalan armed forces planted a flag on Belizean territory. The Minister of Foreign Affairs has since issued a formal protest note to Guatemala condemning the act. Speaking on the matter, Prime Minister Briceño commended the Belize Defense Force soldiers who were present, praising their bravery and patriotism in standing their ground against a much larger Guatemalan presence. He stressed that the BDF acted with professionalism in protecting Belize's sovereignty. The Prime Minister also revealed that he is scheduled to meet with Guatemalan President Bernardo Arevalo at the end of September, where the issue will be raised directly. Prime Minister Briceño reaffirmed that Belize will continue to defend its borders through diplomacy and peaceful dialogue, while ensuring that the nation's security forces remain vigilant.
First, important for us as Belizeans to recognize the bravery of our BDF soldiers. They were surrounded by Guatemalans. I think there was as much as 7 boats, Guatemalan boats, and their gunboat was probably about a mile away. And I want to commend them for the bravery that they've demonstrated, and they are cool under pressure because this could have gotten out of control. But they stood their ground to ensure to make the point that that they are in Belizean territory and that flag had to come down. During that time, our minister got in touch with the Minister of Defense from Guatemala, Minister Mira, and Minister Fonseca with the Foreign Minister from Guatemala. So immediately started to work the diplomatic channels. And because of that immediate work that we did, then the Guatemalans brought down the flag and then moved out from within our Belizean territory. We've always said that the Sarstone is the river is the line, the medium line. Going north is Belizean territory, and going south belongs to Guatemala, and that remains. We follow the standard procedure. It is that the Minister Fonseca, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, have written a strong letter of protest to the OAS, and also of course to Guatemala, and have started informing all of the Friends of Belize, the group like the United States, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and so forth, to inform them of that incident. I expect to be at the UN I leave Belize on the 22nd. So during that time, I am expecting to meet with President Arevalo to discuss the situation. President Arevalo has demonstrated great support for Belize and wanting to create closer ties and really a relationship between both countries. But obviously there seem to be elements within the military that are still classified as old guard, and wanting to demonstrate every so often their stance their stance when it comes to the Belize issue. But that's an issue that's dying, and the old guard, most of them are very old and basically dying, and the younger generations are the ones that are pretty much recognize that Belize is a free and independent nation, and I recognize that. And we believe that in time that will work its way out. And also at the same time, with at the ICJ, we still have every confidence that we will win that case. And then that will help us then to be able to start working clearing the boundaries, the land boundaries, and also well then the maritime boundaries will also be delineated so that everybody knows what side is Belize and what side is Guatemala.
Meanwhile, the Belize Territorial Volunteers, BTV, have announced plans to travel to the island in the coming days. Prime Minister Briceño acknowledged that the group cannot be stopped from traversing Belizean territory, but cautioned against venturing into the Sarstoon area, which remains a sensitive and disputed zone.
On the term, I can only advise, and my advice to Will, and Will is a dear friend of mine, is that don't go there right now. Why do I say that? It has nothing to do by saying that we are admitting that that land it's not our land. It is, and we have every right. Every citizen have every right. But for instance, if there is a mad bull in a ring, you're not going to jump in there with a red flag because they're going to attack you. And we're just trying to prevent anything from anybody getting hurt. These are civilians, and they might do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing, and when you see somebody trigger happy, and then you get hurt. And that's what we're trying to avoid. So far, we have been very successful in preventing any kind of harm to any citizens from both sides of the country, from both countries, and we want to keep it that way.
And as the BTB prepares to travel to the Sarstoon tomorrow, we understand that tension between the Guatemala Armed Forces and the BDF reached another level today. Another concerning footage that depicts a tense confrontation at the Sarstoon involving the Guatemalan Navy and the Belize Defense Force, BDF, purportedly taking place today. In the video, the Guatemalans continue to claim that the Sarstoon is within Guatemalan borders. In response, the BDF personnel asserted that it is not. But the situation escalates when they are outflanked by two Guatemalan Navy ships. Outnumbered and overwhelmed, the BDF troops are forced to withdraw from the area. Here is the clip.
De Belice. Por favor, mantenga una distancia segura y evite cualquier acción provocativa que pueda intensificar las tensiones. Vamos a realizar patrullajes de rutina, pero le pedimos amablemente que lo haga.
We are yet to hear from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on this particular case. A businessman from San Ignacio was taken into custody on Sunday, September 7th, in connection with a severe traffic incident that resulted in injuries of two police officers. Dijon McNabb, age 31, has been charged with multiple offenses, including negligent, grievous harm, neglecting, wounding, driving without proper care, failing to stay as close as possible to the right side of the road, neglecting to stop and assist at the scene, and failing to report the incident. The incident took place along the George Price Highway between miles 68 and 69. During the collision, Police Constable Karen August was ejected into a ditch, sustaining injuries to her forehead, hands, and a deep cut on her left leg. Her colleague, Constable Curlon Hamilton, also suffered injuries, including cuts to his head and arm, along with abrasions on his elbow and face. At the time of the crash, Constable August had just completed her shift at the Contiki substation and was on her way home to Sokots Village. In response to the injuries sustained, community members have organized fundraising efforts to assist with the medical expenses for PC August. Belize is on the verge of making history with the introduction of the Climate Change and Carbon Markets Initiative Bill 2025. The bill was presented today in the House of Representatives by the Minister of Sustainable Development, Honorable Orlando Habet, and, if passed, will become the country's first ever climate change legislation. The landmark bill seeks to develop, implement, manage, and regulate mechanisms to enhance climate resilience and low emissions development. It also proposes the establishment of a national carbon market, giving Belize the legal framework to trade carbon credits and tap into global financing opportunities for climate action. In his presentation in the House today, Minister Habet explained that the initiative is rooted in Belize's international commitments under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Agreement, noting that the bill will help protect the nation's environment and development goals while ensuring compliance with global climate obligations.
For years, Belize has been on the front lines of the climate crisis. Hurricanes stronger than ever, droughts and diseases threatening our farmers, and seas that rise to claim our coasts. These are no longer distant warnings, but lived realities for every Belizean. And yet, through it all, our people have shown strength, they have shown innovation and hope. This bill is our response. It gives Belize, for the very first time, the legal and institutional foundation to govern our climate future with strength and with certainty. It sets in place the structures that will allow us not only to protect our land, our waters, and our people, but also to benefit from the new opportunities of the global carbon market. In a world where climate finance is tied to readiness, Belize will now stand ready, credible, and confident. Honorable members, allow me to highlight 4 historic reforms delivered by this legislation. First, it creates the Belize National Climate Change Council, our highest policy body for climate action, together with a dedicated Department of Climate Change and a National Transparency Unit, ensuring strong leadership, coordination, and accountability across all ministries and sectors. Second, it establishes a comprehensive national measuring, reporting, and verification system and a carbon registry that will guarantee Belize meets international standards for transparency, reporting, and data integrity. Third, it authorizes a high-integrity carbon market for Belize, one that protects landholder rights, guarantees free, prior, and informed consent for our indigenous peoples and local communities, and ensures that benefits are shared fairly and equitably. And finally, it provides compliance and enforcement mechanisms, including penalties and adaptive regulations to safeguard integrity, transparency, and readiness for the future. With these pillars, Belize will now have the tools to direct our own climate destiny, to open new doors for investment, to channel finance into the hands of community, and to secure our place as a leader among small island developing states. Honorable Speaker, the passage of this bill will be a testament to the world. Belize is ready to protect our sovereignty, ready to seize opportunities, and ready to safeguard the prosperity of generations yet to come. This is a proud and defining moment for our nation, a moment when Belize takes bold action, not just for today, but for tomorrow. A moment that says to our farmers, our fishers, our youth, and our children, we will not leave you behind, and we will not leave you unprotected. I invite every member of this honorable House to join hands and lend your full support to this transformative legislation. Together, let us pass this bill and mark the beginning of a new Belize, resilient, sustainable, and full of green opportunity.
Investments in sustainability, including carbon training projects, renewable energy, and community-based adaptation programs. It also establishes oversight mechanisms to guarantee transparency, accountability, and alignment with sustainable development priorities. Prime Minister Honorable John Briceño today presented a resolution in the National Assembly seeking approval for Belize to increase its participation in the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, CAIBE. The CAIBE subscription motion 2025 outlines that Belize, already a member of the regional financial institution, formally requested in 2023 an increase in its shareholding in order to access greater funding opportunities and development initiatives. This request was accepted in December of 2023 to the amount of 4,000 shares at the sum of $40 million US. Currently, Belize's law under the International Organization Finance Act do not grant the Minister of Finance the authority to subscribe to such shares or make the required contributions. The resolution therefore seeks parliamentary approval to authorize the Minister of Finance to sign the instrument of subscription and all related documents, clearing the way for Belize to fulfill its obligations. Prime Minister Briceño emphasized that increased participation in CAIBE will bring significant benefits to Belize by strengthening its role as a voting member and improving access to development financing.
For countries like ours, like Belize, access to timely, affordable finance has consistently been an obstacle along the path of economic development and transformation. Unfortunately, there is no magic silver bullet to this problem. Working with multilateral development banks, climate finance agencies, and bilateral partners all serve to support overcoming such hurdles, but they take too long. When a hurricane hits us, we can't wait a whole year to try to get funding. We need funding immediately. Since the onset of our administration, CAIBE has proven to be one of those partners upon which we can rely not only for loans, but for much needed grants in the events of natural disasters. CAIBE has been a great development partner. For example, right after we won elections in 2020, when we were affected by hurricanes Eta and Iota, CAIBE assisted Belize with about $1 million US or 2 million Belize dollars. They gave us a grant. And since November 2020, CAIBE has assisted Belize with over $16,796,524.94 in grants. Mr. Speaker, an opportunity became available for Belize when, as I mentioned, in 2023, we asked to subscribe to these shares, and the board accepted that we can subscribe to these shares. And that's happened because of the relationship that we have been building with CAIBE over the past 4 years, going on to 5 years. So CAIBE, as I said, has offered Belize to buy 4,000 shares, totaling $40 million US. Now, I know that some members in this house might be questioning, well, where are we going to get $40 million US? Well, in the first portion, the bank expects us to pay just $10 million over in the next 4 years. So basically, we will need to pay $2.5 million US per year. And then the $30 million will remain as callable whenever the bank needs it.
But the resolution was not without criticism. Opposition leader Honorable Tracy Panton was the first to raise concerns, pointing out that while the $40 million share agreement may sound promising on the surface, it raises troubling issues about the government's priorities. She argued that such a financial commitment comes at a time when Belizeans are struggling economically, suggesting that the government may be misplacing its focus.
On the surface, it appears forward-looking. But the reality is far more troubling. Fiscal risk, hidden liabilities, and misplaced priorities. Yes, greater shareholding could give Belize access to financing, as the Prime Minister has outlined, and some influence at the table. We are not against development opportunities. Here's the fiscal reality. US 10 million to payable capital, in payable capital, which is 20 million Belize dollars. 4 annual installments of 5 million Belize dollars. This at a time when families keep crying with the cost of living, when teachers and nurses are under strain, and our healthcare system is collapsing. This money, Mr. Speaker, is not going to Belizeans, but to bankers.
Government, however, maintains that increased participation in Caibe will bring significant benefits to Belize by strengthening its role as a voting member and improving access to development financing.
You know, Mr. Speaker, this motion, I think, is one that, under any circumstances, should enjoy the full support of members of this National Assembly. You know, sometimes, you know, I really think the Belizean people are sick and tired of an opposition that just objects for the purpose of objecting. Absolutely no substance behind the objection. Just wanting to be a negative voice in the face of something that is entirely based on the national development objectives of this country and this government. You know, as the Prime Minister pointed out in his remarks, in his introduction, Caibe has proven itself to be a strong development partner of Belize over the last 5 years in particular, under this administration. So the Prime Minister himself, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Economic Transformation, they have worked very closely and directly, intimately with Caibe over these 5 years and have developed a strong relationship based on trust and confidence. So they have done that work. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition talks about analysis. They have done that work at the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economic Transformation. And they understand fully well that it is in Belize's national development interest for us to deepen and strengthen our partnership and relationship with Caibe. And you can't ask for any more favorable terms and conditions than what is set out under this motion. Prime Minister detailed it, but it's worth repeating. Yes, it's 4,000 shares, but what Belize is required to do over the next 4 years is make payments amounting to US $10 million over that 4-year period. So $2.5 million US per annum over those 4 years. That's a very, very almost insignificant investment in terms of the return that we have been getting and will continue to get from Caibe.
There is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
It is truly
a proud and historic moment for us here in San Ignacio. It gives me great joy to welcome you all to the official opening of the very first wooden basketball court in our community.
The cost of the project in completion was about $200,000. Honorable Mala was willing to assist us with this project. This is a huge, huge investment for us.
There can be serious development through sports, especially if the right foundation, having the right facilities are in place. Then the programs follow. We can't put the carriage front of the horse by having the programs, but we only have outdoor facilities. Belize rain 6 months out of the year, and having outdoor facilities is just not enough.
Our focus is going to be on education because that's a part of using sports as a vehicle to get as many of our athletes to international schools to play football, basketball, volleyball, track, whatever it is. The other thing is health. 33% of our people are afflicted by diabetes, hypertension, or some ailment like that. And those things can be prevented. So we want to create again the facilities where people can go exercise, have fun.
The Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, MOEST, has met with the key stakeholders to address concerns surrounding school hair policies and their enforcement. The meeting, held September 12th at the ministry's headquarters in Belmopan, was led by Minister of Education Oscar Wequenia, along with CEO Diane Mahay and Deputy Chief Education Officers Cecilia Ramirez Smith and Terry Westby Langford. Stakeholders included Yaya Marin Coleman of the UBAD Educational Foundation, Belize National Teachers Union, BNTU, President Nadia Callis, Executive Secretary Keisha Young Flowers, Disabilities Desk Coordinator Marshall Nunez, and Cynthia Pitts of the Human Rights Commission. Discussions centered on complaints raised by students, parents, and teachers regarding inconsistencies and enforcement of grooming standards in schools. The ministry and stakeholders agreed to collaborate on reviewing current policies, developing clearer guidelines, and ensuring rules are applied fairly and respectfully. The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to promoting professional standards in education while protecting the basic right of students. The National Meteorological Service of Belize, in partnership with the World Food Program, WFP, Belize has successfully concluded a 3-part national workshop series on landscape assessments for needs for an effective climate-resilient early warning system, CRUISE. The sessions were held in Belize City on September 5th, in Cayo on September 8th, and concluded on September 9th in the city of Belmopan. The workshops brought together representatives from governments, institutions, academia, utilities, farming communities, and disaster risk managers. Over 50 participants from 30 different stakeholders collectively examined how climate forecasts and early warning information can better guide decision-making in agriculture, water management, energy supply, and disaster preparedness. Through interactive group work, plenary discussions, and sector-specific mapping exercises, participants identified critical decision points such as planting schedules, irrigation planning, food preparedness, and infrastructure management that are affected by weather and climate hazards. They also provided recommendations on the type of climate information needed, the most useful lead times, and how to strengthen trust and usability of climate service across sectors. Outcomes from the workshop include a decision point frame outlining when and how climate information is most valuable to different sectors, recommendations to tailor seasonal forecasts, hazards outlook, and multi-hazard early warnings to stakeholders' needs, strengthen collaboration between farmers, institutions, and service providers, and contributions to the enhancement of Belize's multi-hazard early warning system through user-informed design. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Monday, September 15th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at www.ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening, and have a splendid weekend.